The mics are hot, and so's the gossip. Let's get into it in 3.
Welcome to In 3. I'm Danielle Graham.
And I'm Callie.
And we are back.
We are back. And we have made a very big decision today that I think we should fill our community in on.
Yeah, we need to address
the uniform that we have self-imposed.
The cardigan in the room.
We need to address the cardigan in the room. This self-imposed uniform. We
Yes.
thought we need a go-to fashion move that we could rely on each week, which I'm sure, well, we know that people have noticed because we get messages all of the time.
We do.
About the cardigan of it all.
Yes.
And this morning I walked in, I have my usual cardi on, and I walked in and Danielle was like, absolutely not. I am done with the cardigan.
It's been 12 weeks of cardigan. I can't do it anymore. Now, do I know where I'm going next? I have no clue.
Well, this is my question because I'm like, okay, I hear you. I'm also sick of the cardi. Although this is not terrible.
It's super cute.
I am sick of the cardi. However, I just happen to be a really big fan of uniforms. And I was telling you, growing up as a kid who went to a school that had uniforms was like the best thing ever because it saved me from having a meltdown every morning about what I'm going to wear.
Yes.
Like looking back on school, actually that gives me a lot of anxiety to think that some kids, yours, have to pick out outfits every day.
Yeah.
That's stressful.
And you know, my big one, B, is she loves an outfit.
Yeah,
she loves
she's
a
very
look.
particular.
Very particular about putting things together.
Yeah.
And I will tell you the biggest sore spot in our mornings is outfits because now B's particularity around what she's wearing has now infected the 5-year-old Marigold.
Right.
So it was so intense last week that I said, if I have to live through another week like this, you're going to uniform school. And it was like, no, we had to implement. Now there's a sign. I swear to you, there's a sign in their bathroom that says outfits heading chosen the night before or mom and dad choose, because it got to the point where it's like untenable. So I fully support the uniform. I don't know why we're not doing it across the board in all schools. It's easy for parents. It's affordable. You buy a few of these pieces, you're done for the year. They're very durable.
Schools and life. Like this is why I love fitness.
Yeah.
It's like, what am I going to wear today? Well, it's going to be a legging
and
a bra and some kind of something.
That's
like,
it.
There's not a lot of choice.
You're right.
And like you can still express yourself. And certainly I think when I was in uniform school, there was other ways you could express yourself. You could have fun socks. You could have fun shoelaces.
Sure.
Hair, makeup, an earring. But yeah, so I'm in a bit of a panic now. Like what is going to be our go-to? If anyone has any suggestions,
please.
We are coming up on a new season where the sweater and the long denim might not be, the best choice.
Yeah. What does this look like in July for us? We didn't think this through at all.
We didn't.
Well,
are you rethinking the whole podcast?
No.
And this is where it ends.
Guys, it's been so much fun.
Thank you so much for your support over the last 12 weeks.
We can't wear cardigans, so we can't continue, I'm afraid. I don't know what we're
I do think maybe the cardigan's like our superpower.
It is. Now imagine this. We switch and then everything just goes to hell.
Falls apart.
Oh,
oh boy.
Don't. Okay.
Oh boy. Okay.
Stay tuned next week and see.
Exactly.
What happens.
Who knows?
It'll be a cardigan.
So I wanted to talk for 1 second about our girl Celine Dion.
Yes, please.
Because I think we are all just so tethered to this woman. She is mother. Like when you think about mother, and we it's a bit of that's a term that's kind of thrown around loosely, I think, and it shouldn't be, because I think it's, it's made for one person and one person only. And that to me is Celine.
Yes. I could not agree more.
Mother.
Yes.
And we know that she's been mega struggling with her health over the last few years, in a way that's was so painful to watch. She did that documentary about her stiff person syndrome and really gave a glimpse into how challenging it's been. And I cried watching. I'm on the treadmill sobbing. I was so devastated for her family, and for her fans, and for all of us. But in this last week, she looks like she's doing a lot better.
She does. We saw her. She shared it on her Instagram.
Yeah.
On the golf course. Hell of a swing.
I mean.
And she looks to be doing so well. And I think the entire nation breathed a collective sigh of relief. We were like, oh my gosh, there she is. And I was so happy for her to be feeling so good because it has been such a struggle. We saw the emotions. We saw the tears. Nothing devastates Celine more than having to cancel on her fans.
Oh my God.
So connected deeply with her fans and her audience. And she understands people booking time and tickets and travel to see her and how much that pained her to have to do that.
Yeah.
The fact that she's feeling good after everything else she's been through. I want to punch my chest. I'm just going to punch my chest.
The way that she swung the club and then grabbed it and started to do like the air guitar in a way that only Celine could do it. I was like, yes. Also, we're both not, as we call ourselves, sporty spices. I had to double check with my golf guru because that looked like a really good swing. So I have a golf guru in my life. It's my older brother. He's an orthodontist, but probably should have gone pro. Takes it very seriously.
What did Jared say?
So I texted him and I said, can you please review Celine's swing? Thank you. He was very happy to do this.
Wow.
Okay.
Thank you for your contribution to the podcast.
Thank you, Jared. We appreciate you. So he says, style on point, look good, play good. So that was his first thing. He says she looks the part.
Super cute.
Great. Then he says, graceful swing, perfect setup before the swing, really good rhythm back and through. Okay, he goes into detail.
Wow.
Okay, next, in balance all the way through to a full follow through.
It's very hard to do.
Then he says, decent power, looks repeatable, and she definitely has game. I'm impressed. Now,
whoa.
If you know Jared Reikus, you know him saying I'm impressed.
It's pretty big.
Is the highest honor from the toughest coach.
Wow.
So I'm thinking this is like
I'm just trying to think of what Jared would say if he saw my golf swing.
We'll just
never do that again. No, disaster. You're going to hurt yourself.
Please stop.
Please stop. Is your neck okay? Do you have any upper body strength?
And then he would...
How did you make it through life so uncoordinated?
Then he would force you to repeat the swing for 15 hours.
No.
With his hand on your head to help with the rotation and all the things.
Awful
I mean,
for me.
I gotta say, I'm not by nature a great golfer, but he could make anyone into a decent golfer, I think. But I love that Celine has this hidden talent. He says she's a huge golf fan. She was just at Tiger's big golf
performance, his show.
His big golf performance. They're very good friends.
I've spent some time with Celine over the years. Adore, love, could not love her more. She is magic in every way you can imagine.
Is she as energetically infectious in person?
And emphatic.
Tell me more.
And her facial expressions in real life are just she's like such an animated person.
Yeah, yes, truly.
She's the best. This week's show is going to be a fun one.
Yes.
We got the big three, which is, Jen Aniston and Pedro Pascal spotted out together.
Are they, aren't they? I love it.
I love it. Even if they are or they aren't, I just want to talk about it.
Same.
Love it so much. Channing Tatum has given us quite a lot to talk about.
Yes, quite a lot.
This week. And then we also have to talk about, what are we doing on the third story? The Schwarzeneggers.
Yes, so we're going to talk about Maria Shriver. She has a new book coming out. And then, of course, we have to talk a little bit about Patrick, her son.
Yes.
Who's on the new season of White Lotus. Really excited to unpack some of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the big we have to talk about today is Gwyneth Paltrow.
Love her so much.
Love her. Another one that I'm surprised that we haven't talked about yet.
I know.
But no time like the present.
And here we go.
I love it.
I do too. I'm really excited to get into this first story.
Yes.
This is a story that has been shared with me in my DMs. I can't tell you how many times.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you
We see it,
but I really appreciate it. It is Jen Aniston, Pedro Pascal spotted out over the weekend for a 3-hour dinner at the Sunset Tower.
I think that's a really important detail, the 3 hours.
It's a long dinner. And he was at the premiere of season 3 or 2 of his show, 2 of It Ends With Us.
No.
The other one. This is the end of
us.
Zombie
show.
Us and Them. Zombies are coming. I watched this show. I actually thought it was This Is Us. It's not This Is Us, guys. The show is called The Last of Us. The Last of Us. I know. I literally watched this show.
Just all of your versions.
The end of us. This Is Us. The bit, I don't know.
So
The Last of Us. I really don't like anything scary, creepy, or unsettling.
Same.
But I loved this show.
Okay, interesting.
I did. I had to close my eyes.
I'm not into a zombie moment, but
No.
I do love Pedro Pascal. If I may, and I'm not trying to claim him as though I was the first or discovered him, but we do know, and we have talked about the fact that I watched Game of Thrones, right?
I don't know you.
Well, I'll tell you why. I was very resistant, as you know, very resistant to having a boyfriend that liked fantasy things and all of that. And then he sent me a compilation of like the hottest moments from Game of Thrones.
And you said.
And I said, I'm going to lean into that.
That might be okay for me.
Yeah, that might be okay.
That might work.
And in that process, I fell in love with Pedro Pascal. Remember, this is now like 10 years ago or so.
Yeah.
Prince O'Byrne.
Okay.
If you know, you know.
If you
And
say
I was
so.
like, this man is a heartthrob.
So this 3-hour dinner last night at the premiere, he's asked about it.
Yes.
He calls it a martini dinner.
Okay.
Yeah. And he is asked about it in a really clever way about being with Jen. And I gave this reporter full points because I knew that
Was this the extra
yeah,
interview? Yeah.
trying to get in there.
Yeah, she
And,
really did a good job.
like, shout out.
Yeah,
really well done.
Shout out extra. That was great.
Listen, I know what that assignment looks like.
Yeah.
You're going to see Pedro Pascal on the red carpet for his show, and he's just been seen with Jen Aniston. You better find a connection and find a thread to ask that question.
Yeah, you want to work it in, but like without being offensive or abrupt or obnoxious.
And he took it well. He laughed at it.
He did.
He laughed. He was asked if he's going to be on the new season of the morning show, and he laughed and said, haha, maybe, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But there are reports that this wasn't just a dinner of the two of them, that it was a group dinner.
I didn't see a group.
I didn't see a group either, but there are reports that it was a group dinner. Now there's also speculation that perhaps she could be on his show in the next season. So is this a working thing? Is
I
this
don't
a crossover
see zombies
thing?
for Jen Aniston, but
I don't really either. And the morning show has been a beast to shoot. Like she has said, it's been really, really hard. Like
Yeah.
it took the last season took 6 months in production. It was a long time.
If she shows up on that show, we'll know she has a crush on him, because I don't think she would take a
No.
role in that show for any other reason. My take on it is like, okay, I get it. I think to assume that Jen Aniston would be like messy and take a new suitor or someone that she was dating that publicly in a place where she knows that paparazzi are going to be and all of the things.
Place.
Like she doesn't move like that. So that's on one hand why I would be like skeptical to believe that they would do this 3-hour romantic martini dinner together in a very public place. Like Jen is one of those people that is seen when she wants to be seen. On the other hand, the fact that like he didn't just say outright in those interviews last night, like LOL, relax, like we're just friends.
point.
And he also went on Kimmel because he's on this big press tour. He went on Jimmy Kimmel, who's one of Jen Aniston's best friends. And they didn't talk about it. And I feel like usually if it's something just to laugh about, I find that it'll be brought up somehow. So for example, Jen Aniston, her most recent rumored suitor
Who?
was Barack Obama.
Oh my gosh, I forgot.
Right?
Yes.
Random. So the world had created this rumor. I literally think it was like fabricated from like some Reddit, like, I don't know, fan fiction.
It was out there though.
That Jen Aniston was having an affair with Barack Obama, and that's why Michelle didn't show up to like Jimmy Carter's funeral, and that's why she didn't show up to the Trump inauguration. And Jen went on Jimmy Kimmel, and they actually outright were like, we got to talk about this random weird ass rumor. And they just debunked it right away. She was like, I've never heard of anything weirder, but like, I guess I'm flattered. So there's a part of me that's like, if it's really nothing, why didn't Jimmy just bring it up and joke about it? There's an interview from the red carpet of the Critics' Choice Awards, I think it was last year, from 2024, where Jen is doing an interview alongside Reese Witherspoon, her co-star. And they have this moment, this flirtatious moment with Pedro when he's walking by their interview. and he joins them in the interview. And this is where it originates that people think that he might be in the new season of the morning show, because he actually like pitches himself to be on it. And he also is like, there's a moment where he basically is like, and I'll date all the characters or something. And so there is this kind of flirtatious exchange. Now, could they just be friends? Could they be colleagues? Yeah, 100%. I think the reason people are excited about this rumor is because we want to see Jen happy.
Yeah.
Nobody in the world more lovable than Jen Aniston.
No.
And nobody we root for harder. And this is actually a pairing I would ship so hard. Like, I feel like he actually would be so great for her, with her. He's someone that, like, I don't think I know a lot of people I could think of right now that I think would measure up to Jen as a good partner. But I actually think Pedro would be a great pairing for her.
I think they would have a lot of fun together.
Yeah.
I think he would meld well with her friends.
Agreed.
And the close-knit group she's had for all these years.
Yeah, agreed.
I think they would have a great time together. They both love they love their work, but they also love their downtime. I think that this would be just
both,
a nice companionship.
Neither of them have kids.
No.
He has never been married. Like, there's no mess.
No, none
either,
whatsoever.
which I love.
I do too.
Okay, like,
no, but his
really
history
ship this.
though, his history is dating people he has worked with.
Thank you.
So we know who Jen's dated and not dated, Barack Obama. But
yeah,
I think her most her most recent relationship that we know of was Justin Theroux. That ended in like 2018. So Jen has been very quiet on the relationship front, which exactly goes back to what you said. If she is dating, it's been very quiet. She's having dinners at home or with friends in their homes, not necessarily out at
I think she gets out there.
Restaurants.
Like, I think she's out there in them streets. I just think she knows how to do it in a way where she can avoid the press.
That's right. Yeah. But Pedro's history, he dated Maria Dizia, met on Law & Order. Lena Headey, met on Game of Thrones. Robin Tunney, he appeared on her show The Mentalist. So there is a bit of a history here. Yeah. So it's possible if he's going to be on the morning show, or in the very unlikely scenario she's going to be on Nobody Wants This. Pedro Pascal and Nobody Wants This.
Nobody Wants This. It ends with us. Why do they all have the same name?
I don't know. It is all the same.
Confusing.
It's very confusing.
Very easily confusing.
Okay, moving on to somebody else who we love to talk about.
Channing
in all ways, and in the relationship ways as well. So Channing Tatum, I'm a huge fan of Channing Tatum. I just love him. He's
very lovable.
He's so lovable.
Yeah.
He's lovable. I love him for a lot of reasons. He's become
tell us.
Yeah, he's become a fantastic actor. But I love that he's not afraid to lean back into his Magic Mike moments.
Yeah.
He'll make fun of himself in every situation possible, with the dancing and the thrusting and the floor humping. Like, he's very, very good.
He's very comfortable with who he is.
Yeah, he has not abandoned that side of himself. And
No.
a lot of people who become serious actors,
yeah, you're right,
decide that old version is not for me.
Right.
Not Channing. But Channing Tatum has been working really hard on a few movies in the last little while, the last year especially. And he posted on Instagram a series of photos, 3 photos, of the various bodies that he's had.
Yes.
So the first one, thirst trap styles, in the window.
Oh yeah.
Like Hollywood Hills maybe background, tanned, oiled, abs.
Oh yeah, there was
shredded,
a lot of oil.
So greasy.
So much oil.
Like,
and that man knows how to oil.
He is,
right?
He's stage quality oil. Yeah.
He was an actual stripper.
Actual stripper. Yeah. I mean, I get it.
Listen. Do what you got to do.
It worked.
It
got him where he is. So that
Truly.
was then. And then the next photo, he was a little fluffier.
Yeah.
At this point, he's up. So he actually broke it down. He broke down the different weights. He was. This people have some context, right? He was
only a man would list these numbers.
No,
let's be
honestly
clear.
though. So he was like 180 something. Then he posted up to 235.
Right.
And this was his fluffier version of himself.
So
and
he gained 30 pounds to do a role for a movie called
Josephine.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was like about a year and a half ago.
That's right. So this is like a drama thriller. Then he goes all the way down to 172 pounds. So I did the math. 63-pound weight swing to do this movie called Roofman, which I love the story, or I love the idea of the story already. I'm totally invested. It's a guy, it's based on a true story, who breaks into McDonald's restaurants to rob them through the roofs. So I guess he's got to get lean to come in through the roof.
The irony of him being so thin, but breaking into McDonald's is kind of a funny juxtaposition.
It really is.
Okay, I'm into it.
I love a true story. I love anything based on a true story.
Yeah.
So Channing has shared that this weight swings and the work that went into it. I love that he credited the people that made it happen. So this is like the nutritionist, this is the trainer, and this is a full-time job. And he said he's not doing fat rolls.
You know
His words,
what
not
else
mine.
he credited? His genetics.
Right.
Which I think is important.
It is.
It's an important call out. Like shout out genetics.
Yeah.
Because a lot
Couldn't
of
have done
people
it.
wouldn't be able to do that like that as
No.
easily as he has. But yes, I mean, time catches up with you. He is 44 now and says that the weight is too hard to take off. So the fat rolls, he calls them, as you said, are just too challenging on the body. So someone else, I mean, we know a lot of actors who are kind of notorious for their weight losses and weight gains and these fluctuations in the name of art. Famously, Charlize Theron won her Oscar for Monster for her 30 or 40 pound weight gain. She also has done that sort of yo-yo where she's had to gain and then lose and then gain and then lose for a few other projects as well. And she also recently said that she's no longer doing any of the heavier roles because, you know, as you get older,
oh my gosh,
it's just not even for Charlize.
Who are you telling?
Listen,
that's exactly why I'm not.
Yeah, right.
Same.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is all that much harder. It is all that much harder.
She also said the exact same thing. I like this for Channing though. I feel like he is in his serious actor role era. And I don't know, is it possible that he's headed for Oscar someday? We know that a lot of people in their either losing or gaining of weight for roles have ended up winning the Oscar for those roles. Jared Leto,
Christian Bale,
exactly.
Brendan Fraser. Did Brendan Fraser win for The Whale?
Yeah, he did.
He did. Yeah,
You're
there
right.
you go.
So there's some big ones there. So I don't know. Maybe this is something for
maybe. He is a really talented actor.
He really
we really
is.
can't take that away from him.
Yeah.
He really and truly is. He can go all the way from, you know, the 21 Jump Streets.
Yeah.
Love so much.
Oh my God, same.
And he can take on really serious roles. So he's got a really varied career.
Yeah.
Let's talk about his love life because that's really interesting.
Uh-huh.
So he was engaged to Zoe Kravitz.
I mean,
hottest couple happening.
Literally couldn't think of a sexier pairing.
No, they were engaged. They broke up. Yes.
He has a new girlfriend.
He does. A 25-year-old Australian model named Inka Williams.
Right.
This relationship was made public for as far as we could see 4 months after the engagement. That for me is a big no. I'm not going to be dating. It's quick. Now she's young, so she's probably just like, okay, I'm hanging out with Channing Tatum.
Just
it's
bebopping.
fine. Yeah, maybe she's not looking at this as a potential to be anything because 4 months after an engagement is not the time to be
looking
not the
for
place I would want
serious.
to be dating somebody.
I agree.
And
he
then
has interesting taste in women.
he does.
So obviously his very first relationship was with Jenna Dewan. Then he dated
Jessie
J, the British singer.
And they look the same.
Then it was Zoe, and now it's Inka. They are getting younger.
Zoe has apparently been dating Noah Centineo.
Right.
How do you feel about that?
I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
So Noah Centineo, who's from To All the Boys I Loved Before,
Yes.
which is a movie I love on Netflix. Love that series. He was on a show where they asked him who his crush was. This was maybe like 5 years ago. And he said Zoe Kravitz.
He did.
So he's been manifesting this relationship for a bunch of years. So I'm happy for him. I don't know. I don't know shade to Noah, and he's cute, but like, I just don't know how you go from Channing to Noah. That's
Right.
just my opinion.
Yep.
But maybe he's a great dude with amazing qualities that Channing doesn't have. So who knows? And I trust Zoe that she's doing her thing. She's got it on lock. But I don't know. That feels like a big jump to me.
Yeah, or it's just that in between.
Maybe she's just having a good time.
Maybe she's having a good time.
I think Noah's the kind of guy that you date right after you break off an engagement.
Yep.
So actually, maybe it tracks exactly.
And it feels like Inka might be the girl you date after breaking off an engagement
Perfect.
too. So maybe they're doing it exactly as it should be. But Channing and Zoe are reuniting on set for a movie this spring called Alpha Gang.
What?
Yeah, they're coming back together. It's got
What
a big
movie is
cast.
this? Wow.
So they will be back on set together.
Okay.
And we know from Blink Twice, they worked well together. There's an intensity, they've said, on set together. So if I'm either of these potential new partners, I don't like this.
Right.
I don't like this.
Yeah.
And we know that sets just have a way of finding romance in them
igniting
sometimes.
some kind of
a lot of time together.
chemistry and an energy.
It does. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe a revisit happens.
Maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be upset.
Okay, shall we move on to the Schwarzenegger family, who's given us
Yes.
so much to discuss this week?
Yes.
Want to start with Patrick?
Sure.
Because he feels like the most out there at the moment.
I mean, well, this season of White Lotus, I know you're not all caught up, and maybe some of our viewers aren't either, but this season of White Lotus, as have all the seasons been, is like blowing up. It's gone viral.
Yep.
Every single person that's on this season has become like an it person. So he went from basically being a struggling actor to being the it guy because of this role. And what a role.
What a role. Now, we're not going to spoil anything, right?
I think people know that there's some inappropriate sibling interactions.
Yes.
With Patrick Schwarzenegger's character's family.
Yes.
Deep down, I'm not sure how he feels about this role being the one that catapults him into superstardom.
Right.
Because, you know, it's going to be hard to unsee some of the things I've seen.
It's going to be hard to be unlike I haven't seen as far as the season has gotten, but he's just such a douchebag.
Yeah, he's such a creep.
Such a creep.
Yeah, he plays it so well.
He's so good in
Yeah.
it. But you're right. I don't know how I could see him differently now because he's so good.
Yeah,
in it.
like
He's
it's one of those roles
note perfect.
where, and especially because we really haven't seen him in a role before,
You're
and
right.
we don't know a lot about him. So I hope for him that this is the start of a big career and not just like one sort of iconic role and he never plays anything again. I don't think it'll be that. I think it's really interesting that he's in his 30s and this is his breakout role,
huge.
being from such a famous family. He talks about the fact that, and we talk about Nepo babies, and how nepotism really helps them and how they have an unfair advantage. But I think in this case, this is the case of a Nepo baby who's actually maybe been punished for being the son of famous parents, obviously Arnold and Maria Shriver. And so the first thing that happened when he got this role, and he posted on his Instagram a video of him finding out and being with his family, and they're all crying. They're all sobbing because he clearly has worked so hard to get to this place in his career where he's taking on this gigantic role. And if I may say, and especially being caught up, his acting is brilliant.
He's so good.
So good.
And the family, their reaction was so wonderful to see. They're all huge fans of the show. So yeah, imagine getting this huge role on this show that you're such a fan of and working with Mike White and knowing what this is going to do for your career. Yeah, it's
so viral.
It is.
Interestingly enough, the other son in that family that he has,
brother,
has a lot of scenes with, Sam Nivola, is also a Nepo baby.
Who are his parents?
His mom is Emily Mortimer.
No way.
Yeah. Fun fact.
Emily Mortimer, is she from the Newsroom? Yes. I loved her in the Newsroom.
Yeah, she's great. And I love seeing him coming into his moment. He's engaged, and he and his fiance were in the new Skims campaign.
I know.
Which I also love. And he's also kind of naked. So lots of nudity, lots of
I am really, really
fun stuff.
Icked out by him. Not to bring it back to icks.
No, I mean,
just the way, even the way he walks in the show, the way he speaks to women, I'm just like,
well, he talks about basically how Mike White sat him down and was like, you need to walk basically douchier.
Yeah.
Like everything he does is curated and molded to fit this horrible character.
And it's doing exactly that.
And if you don't have the ick from this character, then you are in trouble, girl. You are in trouble. You need to run to the nearest therapist because he is, I mean, problematic doesn't even begin.
No.
Doesn't even begin. But let's pivot over to Maria.
Yes.
His mom, Maria Shriver, who has a new book that's coming out. We love
an autobiography.
An autobiography.
This is our wheelhouse.
Totally.
And I love this. I love when, somebody gets to a point where they're open.
Right.
And they want to share. So, because she said she could have done this book many years ago, but just wasn't in the place to do it. Maria Shriver's history and the way she shares her upbringing, and if you weren't doing big things, you weren't seen. If you weren't out there achieving the most, you didn't feel valued. Coming from a place of inadequacy, always,
Yeah.
which is why she went to achieve everything that she did.
Yep.
Went to be a news anchor. And then when that could no longer be possible because her husband was the governor, she's like, okay, fine. I'm going to be the first lady of California. I'm going to do it in the best way. I'm going to be home for dinner every night. I'm going to raise these kids.
Yeah.
And then, her world imploded with the revelation that Arnold had a child outside of their marriage with their housekeeper. And then the fallout of all of that for her was just like she didn't know who she was, where to go, what her identity was. Everything kind of just crumbled around her, and she was left in this kind of like in shambles, essentially.
Yeah.
And then from the ashes, she's
Yeah.
really, really come back.
Talk about devastation.
She does sound like in this book, she says, I'm not going to get into all the details of that specific part, the Arnold affair.
Oh.
Just that it was really brutal and awful and devastating for all the reasons. But I don't think the nitty gritty is going to be there because Arnold did have the affair, and that boy, Joseph, was around for many, many, many years. And if you've seen an updated photo of, he looks like his dad.
Spitting image.
Spitting
at like all the kids, he's the one that embodies Arnold the most.
Yes.
And yeah, I from my understanding, and again, this was an era where I was deeply in the entertainment news production scene. This was like a fever pitch of tabloids, and all of our stories was about Arnold and the housekeeper and the son. Who, from my understanding, like the housekeeper and the son lived in their home.
Yeah.
And no one knew that it was Arnold's except Arnold.
Right.
And the mother.
And kept it a secret for a long time until it became kind of undeniable. But I do think it's really beautiful the way in which they've included Joseph in their family. Arnold said, I made a mistake, yes, but I don't want him to feel like he's not wanted in the world. And
that's kind.
It is kind. It really is. And in the very interesting Schwarzenegger family tree, Chris Pratt is married to one of the daughters, Catherine.
Yes.
Catherine. He's a brother-in-law, and he has spoken of Maria and the woman that she is and the values that she holds and the pride in which she has in her family. And she's gone on to say she's so proud of her family and the kids and the grace in which they've shown the situation and how they've kept it together and how they've rallied as a family. And she's saying this as a mom, proud of her children for moving through this with all the grace in the world. But really, it's a reflection on her as a mom.
Of course.
It's anything she's saying or seeing is really because she's raised these people to be this way.
Yeah.
So
she created that safe environment for them.
She really
even
did.
In a world where so much turmoil and everything was uprooted, she obviously created a really safe space for her kids. And they're all, so it seems, very well adjusted, considering the Kennedy connection, the Schwarzenegger connection, all of that,
the scandal,
family
the spotlight,
drama, all of that. So good for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so ready to get into Gwyneth Paltrow.
We have to do it.
We have to talk about her.
Yeah.
With shade, Gwenyth. Is she throwing the most shade right now?
I mean,
there's been a couple comments.
Yeah, I mean, Gwyneth is an artist when it comes to throwing shade.
Yeah, she is.
Because she won't throw like basic shade.
It's curated shade.
It's highly curated. It is highbrow shade.
It is.
It's highbrow shade.
It is.
So she did an interview with Vanity Fair. Big article. Loved it. I honestly savored every single word. When they asked her about Meghan Markle, who she says, I don't know. She says, I don't know Meghan and Harry, even though they all live in Montecito.
Right.
I don't know them, which reminds me of like the
Does she even go here?
Does she even go here?
Does she even go here?
That's amazing.
It has that tone.
It does. She says, I don't even know them. She's met Meghan a few times. And when they asked her about Meghan's sort of foray into homemaking and her new show with Netflix, Gwenyth, being the godmother of creating a lifestyle brand as a celebrity, as a female celebrity, she says, quote, everyone deserves an attempt at anything they want to try.
See, that is shady.
It's not shady. It's very like,
good job, sweetie.
Cute.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
It's like how I congratulate the kids. sometimes on things that they've made.
That's nice.
You tried.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm kidding. I don't patronize my children.
No, but like gold star for participation.
Yeah.
It's a participation award.
It is a little ribbon.
She's like, oh, that's cute. You're doing that. Now, I will say that before this part in the article, Gwenyth does say that she really stands for women in all the industries and like really wants to. You're not taking any of this seriously.
I don't know.
You're like, absolutely not. No, I mean, I think she kind of stands in this duality of this highbrow shade and being a woman for women.
Okay, yes.
Right?
She is a woman for women.
So I think it's fun to laugh at the shade, but I do think that Gwenyth stands for women, and I think she's demonstrated that a number of times. I do think this is highbrow shade. I don't think the stuff on social media is as direct as people want it to be. I think Gwyneth's a busy woman. I don't think she has time to film an entire cooking Instagram reel just to throw shade at Megan.
Okay, I agree. So Gwenyth posted making Sunday breakfast, which she does often.
Yeah.
It's her boyfriend breakfast. It is nothing that she hasn't been doing for a long time in her little cute pinstripe pajamas. But the latest one did use the same song from Meghan Markle's Netflix TV show.
I don't think it's the one.
People
are saying that, but I don't think it is.
You don't think it is? This will be...
I think people think it's the song, but I don't think that's the song they used.
Okay, so you think this is no shade zone?
I just think actually Gwenyth thinks very highly of herself. I don't think she's putting themselves in the same bucket. And I don't think she wants to be associated in the same bucket.
We are different realms.
We're different. You're cutie cute. You try. Let me dominate and be the queen of this space. And I don't think she's paying attention to that.
Okay.
I think she's doing her as she always does.
Let's get... So she's done this movie with Timothée Chalamet. Another episode. It should be a drinking game at this point.
It should be.
Every time we
say
him.
Timmy, take a shot.
I would say 80% of our episodes include Timothée Chalamet.
It sounds like it's almost like Baby Girl Part 2, but maybe it'll actually be good because Baby Girl, the Nicole Kidman one, was not good.
Not good.
But I'm hoping... Apparently, this is a very sexual role. Her character has an affair with Timmy, and she talks a lot about their makeouts and their sex scenes. And they get into the topic of intimacy coordinators.
Yeah, she said we have a lot of sex in this movie. And apparently there's a thing now called an intimacy coordinator. I've never heard of that before.
I don't know her also.
That's
an intimacy coordinator?
Yeah.
I don't know
She's been making movies since she was a small child. You don't know anything about an intimacy coordinator? She's like, apparently there's this new thing. I don't know anything about it.
Well, she has been out of the game for 15 years.
But she's still in the world.
Of course. She's being... tongue-in-cheek there, I think, but I think what she's trying to say is like back in the day when they did love scenes, ain't nobody was protecting them, ain't nobody was choreographing them. They were just out there doing the thing, making art, I think she calls it, like really doing and moving within the role and the character and doing what feels best. And now she's sort of also throwing shade at this idea of intimacy coordinators.
That was a lot of shade.
Yeah, it was.
There's this thing now called intimacy coordinator. It was shady. But I do agree with her in that sense where she described it's hard to imagine somebody in those intimate moments when you're trying to create this scene, somebody placing a hand on your shoulder for you, and how it would take an actor out of the moment. And that's where she was going with it.
And she did say that she asked the intimacy coordinator on that set to just back off. Like, let me do my thing. I got this. I've done this a couple times.
I feel fine here.
But some people are calling out that, Timmy is significantly younger than her, significantly, less famous than her. So potentially there's a power dynamic. If it had been a man that said back off intimacy coordinator and it was a young woman who was just coming up in Hollywood, it might be seen differently.
It would be seen differently.
So I think, I mean, obviously people also love to have a bone to pick with Gwenyth. There is no more fun pastime for Hollywood journalists than picking a bone with Gwyneth Paltrow.
But I also think she likes it. Vagina candle.
Right.
She likes it.
She definitely brings it on herself.
She's enjoying here's why. She's at the point of her life where she doesn't care.
Truly.
She really doesn't care.
Yeah.
Gorgeous, wealthy, famous.
Yeah.
Happy, peace. She's good. So every now and again, it's like she chucks a log on the fire. She's like, here you go.
Here you go.
Entertain yourselves. Enjoy that. And then it's like, poof.
Total. And the hyenas come in.
Yes.
She really is the gold standard for me. Like, she is the epitome of badass boss lady. She's the first to ever do pretty much everything.
For sure.
Okay, let's talk about it. And they mentioned these things. She was the first to have a crazy name for her daughter. Remember when it was like, she's naming her daughter what? Apple? She was the first one to do that. She was the first one to talk about consciously uncoupling and having this, kind and respectful ending to a marriage, right? She was the first one to launch a successful lifestyle brand.
So true.
Which still, even though, there are some rumblings about why did they lay off people last year and whatever, it's still the dominant brand. And everyone is just trying to catch up to what she's done. And has not successfully done so.
Where I really appreciate Gwenyth, especially right now, she's been very, very honest about her journey through menopause and perimenopause. And as somebody who's, she's got a few years on me.
Yeah, a couple, babe.
A couple. But it is really hopeful and comforting and supportive to hear her share her journey, the things she's been through, the changes she's made,
and what's worked for her, what
didn't, how it's affected her in every way imaginable. Because the more we talk about it, as you know, especially with women's health,
100%,
the more information we have, the more it normalizes things, and the more we're able to access the healthcare that we need. So I was like, yes, thank you, Gwyneth Paltrow, for being honest that it's really hard, even for you, with all the resources, all the money, all the everything. You've had a hard time.
Yeah.
And you have figured it out. And thank you for sharing your wisdom and not gatekeeping it. Thank you for sharing your experiences and not just keeping it to yourself. Love that for her. Love.
She's also the queen of balance. Like, yes, she is this sort of like natural, healthy, holistic, organic health freak,
gluten-free,
but she's also sort of like the originator of like the Saturday cig and having a cocktail or two. And she likes to be in bed by 9:00, which I appreciate.
Yes.
And she also does talk about her favorite cookie, which is my favorite cookie, which is an Oreo.
You love an Oreo?
I love an Oreo.
I did not know this about you.
Oreos?
I'm fine with an Oreo.
No, I love them.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like Oreo in a Blizzard or a McFlurry.
Yes. If there's ever an option to have it in any other dessert, I will say yes.
It's good for
me.
It's
like Oreo, and it's an apple fritter. Or like a
100%.
Tiny Tim donut. Like, these are my three. These are my selections. And thanks to everything else.
And I mean, I'm yes to everything all the time. I operate from yes.
We operate from a place of yes.
Yes.
I love that about you.
I want all of that.
No, but I love that about Gwenyth because, again, like, she is the ultimate controlled kind of health freak.
Totally.
But then she does talk about, again, the Saturday cigs, the cocktails, and the Oreos. And I really appreciate that about her.
I really do too. Yeah. She's, as much as she's so not normie, she's a bit of a real one.
She's not a normie,
not even a little bit.
A real one. You're right.
Yeah.
Those two things can be true here.
Yeah.
Not
at all relatable.
0%. But some of it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's a maybe.
Kind of yeah.
Love our girl.
I love it.
This was fun again.
This was fun. So take a moment. R.I.P. to the Cardi.
I mean, we can't. Are we saying we can't? Are we gonna call it? No.
I don't know. I thought that's what we were doing.
We'll see.
Okay, I guess we'll see.
I'm not great with.
Well, hit us up with your suggestions.
Yes, please.
What
send us some links.
Fashion move should we do next? And do we have to make it our whole personality again?
No, really though. Keep in mind, this is quarterly now. Yeah. So the next look you will see for 12 straight weeks.
True. So pick wisely. Maybe we should put a poll up.
Please help us.
Please help us. Just a baby.
Oh, I am.
Oh my God. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We love you as always. Rate, review, comment. It all helps us do the thing we love to do.
Send to a friend too.
Yeah.
So that you can chat like we get to chat, which
right.
is the most fun I have all week. Truly.
Exactly.
The best. Love you. Thank you.
Bye.
See you next week. Mwah.